It's a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Welcome to mainland 98.3 FM. It's midweek politics. Today is the 11th day of the month of September 2024. And in case she's listening, happy birthday to my mother. She's just always been there. I mean, me, I've always been a very stubborn boy. I mean, growing up and all of that. But hey, she's always had my back. Happy birthday to you, Mom. And I pray that all of the things you're enjoying now, you would enjoy even more in long life, good health. She's one of the strongest women alive, if not the strongest. Well, happy birthday to you, Mom. Hey, let's get into the conversation proper. There's so much to talk about on the show today. And in case you're just tuning in, we get to do this every Wednesdays from 1 to 3 p.m. It is called Midweek Politics, and it's a space where we have conversation strictly on politics. We'll take you through all of the things you need to know. You listen to the news, you watch the news, you read the news. But on this space, we take it way beyond the surface. Those things that you probably would not get from your regular news outlets, you find it on this space. And would always also allow you to have a conversation with us. And this is not the only space we create for you to do that. We'll always start from Sunday, 6 to 8 p.m. on Political Roundtable. Said Fouad and his league of amazing analysts, always speak issues, topics, conversations that affect us, and not just Nigerian issues. We'd also go to diaspora. We don't visit the diaspora commission though, but of course we take it out a bit. I'm talking about outside stories. I think a lot of people often forget that Nigeria has the largest democracy in Africa by the population, and we have one of the largest in the world. And the model, if in context now, certainly had to be the United States democracy. And I've always tried to understand it sometimes, how much of a contradiction it is. In 2016, during the election between the former president that is also contesting now, the Republican candidate, Donald Trump, and former First Lady Hillary Clinton in 2016, if you check the numbers, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but there's something they call the EC, that's the Electoral College in the US. And those are, if they say votes are equal, not in the United States. Some people's votes are more powerful than other people's votes, and those people oftentimes override the popular votes, and that was exactly what happened. Hillary Clinton won the election with almost 2 million public votes, but the electorate college actually gave it to Donald Trump. And early this morning, I was talking to Victor before we came on. I said, I'm really struggling to stay awake because I had to stay awake all through the night till about 5 a.m. I was watching the debate, and it's a total departure from what we had about 2 months ago between our current president Joe Biden and the immediate past president and the candidate of the Republicans, Donald Trump. It was a one-sided debate. But this morning, the now presidential candidate of the Democrats, that's the current Vice President Kamala Harris, had a neck-to-neck conversation with Donald Trump. And you see the polls, you see the figures, but sometimes these polls can be misleading. If you actually stayed awake to watch that debate, then you understand that a lot really happened. Donald Trump, in his usual self, came in with numbers, and and the rules are very different. No introduction, stick to the conversation. Donald Trump will be the one to have the last talk because, of course, he's the former president, and Kamala Harris had only been the vice president. So the rules were really clear. And then the commentators also had the right to put off your mic if it's not your turn to speak. See, my takeaway from all of that, apart from the fact that Kamala Harris was able to marshal her point, see, let me tell you for a fact, Victor, Donald Trump is not the easiest person to debate, and that's the fact. If he sees that the numbers are not going in his favor, he takes you to the streets, and you can't stand him on that space. But I mean, a lot of things worked. Kamala Harris was just peaceful and calm, threw some baits at Donald Trump. Donald Trump, also took it, and then she worked on the emotional intelligence of Donald Trump, allowed Donald Trump to get angry a few times, and she was just soft and calm. And I've been checking the polls, and even the Republicans, even the media houses that are pro-Republican were saying, hey, this is absolutely not a good day for the Republicans. But the sweetest part of this is there's still going to be 2 more debates before the election in November. And this is not a choice of, oh, let me send my vice presidential, my running mates. No. It is that debate for the vice presidential candidates, that debate for the presidential candidate. And it's not a matter of, oh, to Americans, what do you want to do for them? Because whether we like it or not, the American president is arguably the most powerful man in the world. So you're not going to send cronies to come speak on your behalf. It's not allowed over there. As against what we have here. So after the debate, Victor, I was going through the books and I found out that no Nigerian president since 1999 had ever attended a formal debate. And that's the fact. The ones that attend don't often win the election. None, from Obasanjo to late Mɪᴅ-ᴡᴇᴇᴜ Yar'Adua to former President Goodluck Jonathan to former President Muhammadu Buhari and to current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. None of them have attended. And when I mean debates, I'm not talking about those, you go to Chatham House. I'm not talking about those selected. I'm not exactly. I'm not talking about those selected conversation where some of the questions exactly some of the questions are prepared for you and all of that. I'm talking about a standoff. And I just told if leaders put themselves up to be held accountable, and that's what the American system is about. It's an institution that does not give you the institution in American democratic space, and that's the fact. Oftentimes, people always win debates, but they don't eventually win the election. Donald Trump didn't win it. She won the popular vote, but the electoral college say, you know what? We've got our numbers. Our votes are more powerful. Okay. And those were the people that put Donald Trump. Hey, let's just put that to one side, Victor. It's a Wednesday.
Let me also.
Victor is here, and I don't get to do this alone. Yes. There's also side forward, on the space that would also take us through some of those conversations. Victor, it's a beautiful Wednesday afternoon.
Let me seize this privilege to say happy birthday to your beautiful mom.
Thank you.
Yes, I can feel the passion, the love. When you were celebrating her, I heard
no,
it from your voice.
she's my lover girl.
But you know what they say? You know what they say about the bathing water and the baby. How it is. When you say you continue to eat the fruit of your labor. Yes, now talking about the United States of America and the presidential debate between Kamala Harris and
Donald
Trump. The truth of the matter is that I think I must really give it to the campaign team of Harris, because they did a great job by understudying Trump. They know fully well that if you're going on a debate,
do you need to understudy Trump? Trump is Trump.
So that's see. Okay.
Just throw the bait for him.
Okay. You see, in this particular debate now, I think Trump didn't see it coming.
I did not.
He
didn't see it coming.
Because he was expecting that, okay, it's going to be the same of the same.
Yeah, bully them,
I'm going to do it in the same way I've been doing it, making sure that I overshadow, I outspeak my opponents and make them understand that, look, I have the microphone. For crying out loud, Trump is an entertainer. He's in the media space a lot of times. So it's not like the regular politician you see out there. This is one of the things that everyone has seen about him. But unfortunately, like I said, I think I must really give it to the campaign team of Kamala Harris. They did a great job ensuring that, just like you said, she had to study everything about Trump, understand his emotional intelligence, the level it is, and then capitalize on that.
Immediately President Joe Biden announced that he was stepping down. Donald Trump made a statement that it would be more difficult to even beat Joe Biden than Kamala Harris, and that was where the old die was cast. I knew Kamala was waiting for the debate.
Well, I hope this time around he should be thinking of taking back that word.
2 months to go, and I will keep it up. And in case you wonder why they're talking about American democracy, whether you like it or not, when America sneezes, other countries often catch cold. So we're interested in that election. It is going to be November, and it is an election that the entire world are interested in. I mean, good time to be on radio once again, Victor. We've got so much to talk about between last week and now. If we had to do a series on what had happened in Nigeria between the last time the show was here, we'll probably be able to put up 20 seasons of series, because there's always one issue to the other. If it is not Joe Ajero and the labor conversation, it is going to be Dangote Refinery and NNPC Limited. If it's not Dangote Refinery, it is going to be Bruno. And I felt really pained. I've been following the story of Bruno State since yesterday. I felt pained because sometime around March or April thereabout, the Nigerian Meteorological Center released data listing the states that are high risk flood. Exactly. States that are on the high risk, red alert, state that are on the middle risk, and state that would only experience heavy rainfall. And Maiduguri, that's Borno State, was put at a very high risk. And look at all of what we have right now. People have died. Prisoners have been killed, escaped because
they said this flood it exceeded their expectation.
The
gravity of it all, for me, is buildings are being submerged. Now, what most people don't understand about this is that buildings. So you're looking at 2 stories building, a story building, a bungalow being submerged in water, and people are inside.
That is not the most painful part. I've been privileged to be at a lot of ID camps in Maiduguri. And I'll tell you for a fact that that's one of the most deplorable states any human being should stay. IDP camps in Maiduguri are a total disservice to humanity. So imagine those IDP camps now being flooded again. So imagine that situation.
Wow.
Yes. A part of the prison, the correctional center in Maiduguri also gave away, and then prisoners escaped. So imagine the kind of prisoners that would be in correctional centers in Maiduguri. A state that have been ravaged by banditry, by insurgency for over 13 years. So imagine the prisoners that escaped yesterday. So the question is this. I faulted the vice president when he went there yesterday, because when those signals, early warning signals, were released, what was done by Professor Babagana Zulum?
So
what were the measures that were put in place to prevent this?
People who are not proactive with issues. These warnings have come.
It's not a people thing. It's a Nigerian thing. We are absolutely reactive.
Those in power. The warning has come since 4 months back, and nothing has been done. So we don't have people who are always thinking of bringing possible solutions or even creating,
Victor,
kind of succor.
They will collect rice, collect 5 billion. Federal Emergency Management Agency will donate. SEMA, State Emergency, would also donate. And when everybody finish that donation, we'll wait, and then next year we'll still go back to the status quo. It's basically a reflection of how our politicians see the people they are governing. It's a pure reflection of same, because you know very well that your state is on the high end. Once it rains and then it comes really heavy, your buildings are submerged, your markets are washed off, your farms. See, I saw the report of maybe whatever tons of rice, whatever amount of money, all of these monies will still not be accounted for. Borno State is top 7 state in Nigeria that receives highest number of ecological funding in Nigeria, alongside Kogi states, Zamfara, Nasarawa. What have they used these monies for? Look, the numbers are here. I mean, it's very much in front of us. Go and check them. Millions of naira goes into this state from funding to protect the ecosystem. But what is being used for? Ordinary flooding. Look at where we are right now. People have died. Farms have been washed off in a country that is dealing with food crisis. Look at where we are again. Well, it's painful when things that we can avoid consumes us. It's quite painful. Victor, we've got stories to talk about on the show today. Maybe you lead the conversation.
Yeah, thank you very much, Akwayemi. And once again, we want to welcome everyone. Said Fuad is also with us here. Good afternoon, Said Fuad.
Good afternoon, Victor. Good afternoon, Akwayemi. Nice to be here with you guys.
Well, I'm pretty sure you heard the conversation. I also listened to you when you were talking about it with Sandra this morning, talking about the dam collapse in Borno State. Quite a very devastating one there. But we're going to keep that for now, and then we'll just start with what we have in front of us here. Let's take it one after the other, because we have a lot to discuss. Meanwhile, we are live on Facebook, so if you're watching us on Facebook, endeavor to drop your comments there. When the time comes, we're going to read them up, okay? Don't forget, we have other platforms as well. WhatsApp is there, as well as text message platform for you to drop your contribution. This is Midweek Politics, where we get to talk all political stories happening within the country. Like Okwayemi did say this morning, not quite long, that we have a whole lot, but we need to pick about 3 to 4 stories, talk about them, and then we'll take it up from there. Let's start the conversation with this particular story. Although when we're looking at this together, Okwe said at some point that the headline is somehow for him misleading. It's a bit skeptical. He's not so sure about the headline, but we're still going to read the headline out and then pick out the story from there. The headline says that Tinubu's policies pushed Nigerians into suffering. And of course, this is coming from the APC, the ruling party, All Progressives Congress. And according to the story here, it says that the ruling All Progressives Congress, AP, said it admits that Publicity Secretary, of course he was the one speaking, Mr. Felix Morka, he argued that the unwillingness of previous administrations to undertake reforms and then tackle the problems that the country have been facing has made Nigeria economy to be in a doldrum, and unfortunately this is what we have at the moment. The one thing he was actually saying was that he still expects Nigerians to have confidence in this administration, believe in the policies being put together by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because according to him, in no distant time, although he didn't actually tell us when, but he said in no time, that Nigerians will begin to reap the benefit of these policies. Now, we've been hearing these particular statements from different personalities within the government coffers, all saying that we should believe, we should have confidence, we should stick to this, that with time it is going to pay off. Said Fuad, this is a story that for so many persons, we strongly believe that Nigerians have been asking the questions because Nigerians want results. They want a better governance. They want a better life. They want to be able to go into their homes and they see food on their table. They want to be able to go to the office and they get good money or salary being paid. I mean, they go to the market with the money in their pocket, they're able to buy things more, saying that yes, they admit that the sufferings, the hardship is real, is hard, is telling on Nigerians because of the economic policies that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has introduced ever since he assumed office. But he expects Nigerians to continue to believe in this policy. What do you make of this, please?
Well, again, nice to be here with you guys this afternoon. Our out is still with Nigerians who are faced with the challenge of flooding in Maiduguri as we speak. I think we also have to commend the military. Our soldiers have been doing a fantastic job helping to move people from dangerous parts of the states, of the city to other areas. It's been very impressive, really. Some of the videos we are seeing, the pictures and the reports we are getting from Maiduguri as to the efforts of the Nigerian military to take people out of that conversation
sure
later on the show. But on the issue of tough decisions and the need for Nigerians to endure the process, to understand that, look, it's always darkest before dawn, it's always pain before pleasure, and that these are just bold decisions that the president needs to take at this time for a better tomorrow for ordinary Nigerians. I think it's been, like you said, a statement that has been consistently put out by the government. He had wished there were other ways to have handled the issue, but these are tough decisions that he had no choice but to take. But he understands that, look, it was going to be a tough time, and then the result would eventually come. I think just yesterday a statement was also put out where he said that removing subsidy was to free up funds that were already held captive, quote unquote, in the hands of a few Nigerians, so that those funds can be deployed into other areas. And of course the result will be that, look, we'll get ourselves out of the trouble. So it's been a consistent rhetoric, almost like a cliche, as to where we found ourselves because of these quote unquote tough decisions. But again, there is a case that we can use as a model. In fact, a lot of international analysts have even called on some developed nations to look at what is happening in Argentina, where a particular president was also elected. A new president, President Javier Milei, was elected in December 2023, just some few months after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was elected as the president of the country.
Yes,
faced with a similar challenge.
True.
Victor, you had ballooning inflation, you had a problem with budget deficit, there was a problem with subsidy on transportation and several other subsidies in Argentina. And so when Javier Milei, a very radical-minded individual, was contesting to be president of Argentina, one of the things, in fact, symbolically, he goes to his campaign ground, Okoyemi, with a chainsaw, and Symbolically, he's telling Argentina, the Argentinian people that, look, I'm coming here to cut everything. Cut wastages, cut corruption, cut subsidy, cut, he had prepared the minds of Argentina.
This is
and the people of Argentina that this is what I'm going to do. I'm coming with tough decisions. And so, despite the fact that the people of Argentina were like, oh, this guy is coming, a new guy, very radical in his thinking, they voted for him. And so the tough decision started in 2023, December, by this young, radical-minded president. But you know what, Okoyemi? The tough decisions was for everybody. For the first time in the history of the country, that president in Argentina reduced his cabinet ministers, Okoyemi, from 18 to 9.
Cutting the cost of governance.
He started with government. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, we're listening.
Okay,
We're listening.
He started with government. Ministers reduced. He started flying commercial airliners until recently when his people told him, "Okay, they will kill you. Please don't fly again." You understand? Cut all contracts, all wasteful expenditure. Foreign trips were reduced drastically. He started with the government to show
intentional about what he
to show the people that, look, when we say tough decisions, it's going to touch everybody. And so he started also with removing subsidies. I think by the time he got to March this year, he had reduced inflation in Argentina from 25% to 11%. Budget deficit had dropped for the first time this year. Argentina's budget was in surplus. They were able to move from budget deficit to budget surplus. Yes, there were protests. People protested, people felt it was tough, but he kept telling them, we need to do this to get out of the trouble we found ourselves. So the difference, and I think people who want to really understand what we're talking about can also read about what is called a sweeping tough reforms that this new guy in Argentina is pushing for, to the extent that we're doing in Nigeria.
I mean, what we have here is one side.
It's one-sided. Yes, the tough decisions, remove subsidy, remove these, high tariff, the government needs to raise money, we need money to fix all manner of things, infrastructure deficit. Yes, we agree, Victor. But Nigerians are saying that, look, on the other side, for people ruling us, show us your own sacrifices. Show us what you're doing to show that, look, this is a period of pain for everybody. But on the other side, what do we see, Okoyemi? On a daily basis, whether you like it or not, removing subsidy, the increasing prices of PMS, it is taking monies away from ordinary Nigerians. When government tells you they are now making money, they are now saving money, they are saving money that is being taken away from ordinary Nigerians. Whether we like it or not, our purchasing power
is dropping
drastically.
It's almost zero.
It's almost zero. The middle class gradually goes down the ladder.
Side forward, is that still middle class?
They are dropping. So while we Nigerians are going through these tough times, what do we see on the other side of the divide? Despite all the noise, all the cry, all the protests, everything that came, the president has just bought a new presidential aircraft.
Governors are sacrificing 50% of their salaries.
They have not even done anything.
Wow.
I'm coming. The president just bought an Escalade 2024 model. The budget.
The vice president also. He has an Escalade.
It's an Escalade for the vice president.
The vice presidential lodged 21 billion.
So, look, we did a review of the 2024 budget. In fact, the supplementary before the main budget. And we saw the budgetary allocations, the wasteful spendings, the profligacy that was embedded in that budget. Unfortunately, this is a government that tells you there's no money, but go check what we've put in those budgets. It was a time too that we're buying SUVs for our lawmakers, we're budgeting these. So that's why nobody trusts any of the reforms. And I think that's the message. That, look, when you talk about sweeping reforms, when you talk about tough decisions, it should
spread across board.
It should first start with the leaders, with the leadership of the country.
Because you're the one consuming the larger chunk of the money.
So again, before we now begin to talk about the methods, we're even talking about, okay, let's even agree that these reforms have to come the way they've come. But it should not be one-sided. It should not just be on the side of poor Nigerians. We should begin to see that, look, on this other side, you guys are ready to make this Africa. The House of Rest people that promised that they were going to cut their salary by half in July. They didn't do that in July. Do you have any information as to whether they've done it? Because we didn't put a gun to their head.
They're still on recess.
Okay,
so maybe when they come back.
When they come back.
But you know, they promised that they were going to do just the salary alone, no, not even the other allowances.
The salary is not even the issue.
It's not the issue.
How much is their salary?
But at least they said they will.
It is the allowances that is the problem.
Let us even say this. So if you aggregate everything, I know we are so funny to the point that we concentrate on the federal government alone. Go check the spending pattern at the state level.
The subnationals.
The subnationals. The wasteful spendings, the appropriations, the procurement patterns at the state level. You're going to marvel. Because it's just basically them looking at what is happening at the federal level
and just copying it.
It's copy
and there's
paste.
no way you want to tell them not to do that.
To do it,
you're doing it from the top.
So how many of us do even follow the procurement pattern at the state levels? Nobody questions anything. Recently, it was revealed that even decoration for activities and events of the First Lady comes about 250 million naira.
Millions.
So that is what Nigerians are saying now. That look, you said it's darkest before dawn, but this tunnel of darkness we've gotten into, we may never come out of it because you guys have not followed us into the tunnel. You took us into the dark tunnel with the hope that we're going to come out, that there's a light somewhere, but you didn't follow us into the dark tunnel. You stayed out enjoying yourself, probably took a different route.
No, they went to the other part of the tunnel to wait for us.
You go this way, then you
shortcut.
You took shortcut. So, but if we are truthful about these reforms, let's all go into it the same way. Let's begin to see. Look, and that's why I said, let people read up. Don't just, I've seen people think it's just about sentiment. Somebody hates somebody doesn't like somebody. Say, look, when we talk about nation building, you have to be exemplary. The leaders must show that indeed. That's why, despite this, look, things are tough for people of Nigeria up till today. It's not as if it's all rosy. But you know what? They are ready to wait.
At least the economy is better.
I say they are even ready to wait. Despite the tough decisions, look, it got to a point, I think, around January this year. Argentinians, the people of Argentina were almost begging for food on the street because of the tough decisions.
And Argentinians are known for a very lavish social life.
But everybody's
President don't downsize everybody.
But as we speak, Argentinians are telling you that, look, you know what? We're feeling it. It's tough.
But we'll endure it. Because we are seeing that you're also making moves.
I say the security people have to tell him now that this commercial line,
it's not safe.
You are not because some of these your decisions is touching. So it's touching the other might in the society, the big guys.
So you never can tell.
So they may go after you. So please, for security reasons, we have intelligence that you cannot save. That's why I had to stop. I told you, look, he had to drop from 18 cabinet ministers to 9.
We have 45.
What did we do? We moved it from 30-something
to 45
to about 48 now. We haven't created another one that will see. Right. So if you check everything and you aggregate it, we're saying that, look, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should show leadership by example. Get into that dark tunnel with ordinary Nigeria, not to just mouth it. Like someone said, a very popular philosopher said that, look, after all is said and done, only a few is done after it is said. So, I feel your pain. I understand the pain with you.
That's said.
There's no. It's just all mere words.
Okay.
What are you doing? Show example. Show leadership. And like I said, for some of the tough decisions, there are still questions about the method. People have asked you, for example, you want to remove subsidy. Okay, let's agree that subsidy was the problem. Even though some of us feel that, look, subsidy is never the problem. It's the method to subsidy that was the problem. And there could have been deliberate effort by the government to fix the problem around subsidy. But let us even agree that subsidy had to go. Was it not supposed to be methodical?
Even the president himself said it in 2012. That you have to remove subsidy in stages. Right. You don't take it out
as
at once.
The stages, there are
you are
things
putting
you need
in
to
palliatives to cushion the effect of the removal.
Structurally, there are things. Look,
yes, you build institutions.
One of the things they've said in the past was that, look, you can't remove subsidy until you have functional refineries. So again, people.
What changed?
As we have it now, I've asked a few people, what is the solution now? The level of hardship we have in the country now, the level of suffering we have in the country now, the level of pain we have in the country now. Can any palliative help?
Palliative palliatives are not even meant to help. Palliatives are normal paper over crack.
They are more like diversionary tactics
just to give you something for something.
And that's why Nigerians are now saying, what are the clear timelines? Our refinery, 4 refineries, 25 years down the line, we are still not sure that those refineries will work this year. August failed. This is September. Have you seen any clear statement, even from
Mr. Mele said it's September.
No, he first said August. We are not lying.
And he said we shouldn't quote him in August.
Even the September, the way we are running, the way September is by next week.
Today is 11th.
So by next week we are almost done with September. Have you seen anything? What we are doing now is a battle between MPCL, Dangote Refinery, PMS, pricing. So Nigerians are saying, for how long are we going to wait? The policy direction of this government is not clear. The only one that is clear is that there's an aggressive revenue drive. But consistently, we have said it here, unless people are here to convince us differently about this notion, that in the past and even currently, more revenue to the government has never indicated better living for Nigerians. What it has done consistently over the years is to create more opportunity for our political class to steal money. So at the end of the day, that is the story of Nigeria. So we can check it. Check what is happening in Argentina, check with Nigeria, and see why we are just being critical unreasonably.
Okay. Now, for some persons, they might not really understand why this story came out, because for Felix Moka to be giving that particular report, or maybe backing Mr. President, because at some point he argued that the unwillingness of previous administrations to undertake reforms and tackle the problems at their roots is why the economy has remained in the doldrum for a very, very long time. But prior to that particular statement that he made, there was another story that actually gave birth to that, that remark coming from Felix Moka. And it's about the former Director General of the Progressive Governors Forum, talking about Saliu Lukman. He was calling on leading lights from the opposition political parties to join forces together and unseat Tinubu-led administration in the 2027 election. And that, of course, didn't go down well with the APC. Now, according to Lukman, the past national vice chairman north of the APC, when he resigned, his membership of his party on the basis that the APC-led administration has not only inflicted hardship on Nigerians, but has not been able to adhere strictly to the dictates of the party constitutions. Hence, he made that call that opposition party in the PDP, the Labour Party, as well as the NNPP, calling on Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, and of course Musa Kwankwaso, that they should all come together and see how they can unseat. You need to see the statements of Felix Moka reacting to that particular call. But then, we know this particular person to be someone that has been with the APC, understands everything happening within the APC. Does this look like they could be having their own internal wrangling, just the way the PDP is having theirs, the Labour Party? Of course, we know their story. Everything right now is looking like, okay, they've joined the other bandwagon of political parties with too many internal wranglings. But this is the ruling party, All Progressives Congress. And the former Director General is making such a very huge call that the opposition party should come together and
because again, when it comes, and when in the opposition political parties does not even give anyone any hope or assurance that, which was the Labour Party, that a lot of people had hoped was going to provide that viable alternative, politically speaking now. But look at the story of the Labour Party as we speak. I think it's one of the
it's one of the top.
It's a party that I think is currently has disappointed a number of Nigerians who had thought that, look, it could develop organically to also be a major force. You had a situation where it was the PDP, the AD, AC, and then eventually the APC coming out of something that was more like a concussion of dissatisfied political party members who came together, and then of course unseat the PDP, who had said they would rule for sanity. Really, there was a very decent showing, whether anybody likes it or not, from Mr. Peter Obi, who was like the poster boy of the party, something new that Nigerians had always wanted. But the reality of the party today has shown that, look, it's just could be another, it's just
the only difference is the nomenclature.
It's nothing different. The attitude of the people of the party is not completely different. You have Mr. Peter Obi trying to, do everything he can. You had, the governor of Abia State who is also doing everything possible. They have a committee put together just to save the party. Whereas the leadership of the party has a different idea. In fact, it has become a Bole Kaja fight now.
Touch and go.
He's now like
everything, scatter everything.
Before we even respect you, where you they go? So what they have now said to Peter Obi that look, before we reserve the presidential ticket,
we are not reserving ticket for you and Alex Oti. The more the merrier.
And that statement of anybody can come now. I'm sure the APC have gotten that.
They've gotten
you know how politicians do it. They sponsor somebody to go there.
That's the normal thing.
They say, well, you people have decided to scatter your house.
We'll help you
to further scatter it.
Don't worry.
They've always had battles from the Lamidia Papa
to Abure.
But now this is a big one. Again, people have called out Mr. Peter Obi severally to show leadership, take charge of the party, unite the party. His attempt now is being frustrated by Julius Abure, who thinks that, look, you don't have the right to want to control the party the way you want. The reports are saying that he's written to INEC, that's Mr. Obi and Mr. Oti, about the new committee. But legally speaking, I think they're going to run into trouble with that effort.
They will. And since we've brought in that conversation, maybe we should just go into it.
Just march into it, yeah.
The September 21st, 2024 governorship election in Edo State is really hotting up. And for whatever reason, I've just had a special interest in that politics, in the politics of Edo State.
Yes.
But a lot of people felt it was going to be a two-horse race. I know Side 4 would disagree what I'm about to say. But in elections, when it's probably going to boil down to tiniest details, every little spoiler counts. 3 parties in the states have dropped their candidate and they said they want to merge with the PDP. We're waiting for that statement before the end of this week. If you look at the way the candidates are evenly distributed, the 3 senatorial districts in Edo State, APC has 2. One is actually being held by a former governor and the former national chairman of the APC. Now the senator representing Edo North Senatorial District, Senator Comrade Adams Oshiomhole. The second senatorial seat is held by Senator Monday Okwebolo, who coincidentally is the candidate of the APC in the election. So you may want to say that those 2 senatorial districts are somewhere hanging. The deputy governorship candidate to Senator Monday Okwebolo is a serving House of Reps member under the other senatorial district. That's Edo Central. So how do you balance all of these conversations? The PDP says they want to retain power. The APC says they want to reclaim power. 2 different ideologies going into the election. Then there's the Labour Party conversation. A lot of people said, well, Olumide Akpata is not campaigning, is not this. But remember, at the 2023 presidential election in Edo State, Victor, the Labour Party won Edo State. The Labour Party won Delta State that has the vice presidential candidate of the PDP. The Labour Party won Lagos, by the way. So that should definitely cover everything else. But this governorship election is going to be a different conversation. Side forward. Olumide Akpata, a lot of people feel he's elite. He's just coming back home because he's this. He had adopted his Edo name because he's this, is that. Peter Obi wants to shut down Edo State for Olumide Akpata. They said it is the mother of all rallies, the grand final rally. What are we expecting on the 21st of September? Side forward. 2 weeks ago, we had Barrister Osarenti join us. He's the convener of Edo Institute of Good Governance, Edo State. And he was talking about the fact that, well, a lot of people may think there's the Labour Party conversation into it, but how much of a spoiler side forward? Remember, Olumide Akpata is not from Edo Central. The other 2 can, in fact, 9 out of the 16 political parties that are fielding candidates have their governorship candidate from Edo Central. It looks like everybody agrees that it is Edo now. But Olumide Akpata is not from Edo Central, the candidate of the Labour Party. In fact, there are rumors that he's a distant cousin to the outgoing governor, which is Godwin Obaseki. How much of a spoiler would the Labour Party conversation be for the APC and the PDP in the September election?
Well, I'm sure that the APC, the Labour Party, the PDP will be looking at Olumide Akpata and what he's going to bring to the table. Because again, if you look at the calculations, people just look at him and say, well, it's just going to make the numbers, really. It's not really a contender.
You also think so?
I actually think so, too. I think it's just going to be a two-horse race. But whether you like it or not, he's going to get his numbers. But Okoyemi, we also have to understand that when it comes to governorship elections, you can't use the national outlook to judge the voting pattern at the state level. We saw it in the last elections, Okoyemi. Most of the states that voted for the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, when it came to governorship elections, they
went back home
and decided who they wanted, really. And so I think Edo is going to be more of who has the machinery at the local level to bring out the votes. For example, the APC currently would have to battle with some of the dissatisfactions in the minds of Nigerians when it comes to national politics. So whether you like it or not, and I've seen the PDP in Edo State also pushed out that narrative. Oh, look at what petrol prices have done for people.
Schools are pushed forward indefinitely. The resumption dates in the state.
Whether you like it or not, APC in Edo State, yes, it's national, this is state, but they would have that issue, really, because whether you like it or not, this is not the best of time, really, for the APC when it comes to the kind of, image you think the party should have in the minds of other Nigerians. But again, every politics is local, and when it comes to governorship elections, you look at local peculiarities. For people that are not going to be bothered with a lot of the things happening at the national level, they are looking at their candidates. Can you connect with them? What structure do they have on ground? And when I say structure, who are the guys that can turn out the votes? The field boys, the boys, the people you have in the battle.
The word canvassers.
The word, when it comes to the war chest, it's going to be tough. I've told you. The fact that you have 3 senatorial zones and 2 are controlled by the APC tells you a whole lot about how tough the elections will be. I don't think they'll be able to outspend the governor. I doubt if they're going to be able to outspend. But again, they have the federal might.
It's a pool.
It's a pool too. But what's the level of commitment they are going to get from the federal level now in terms of material resources,
machineries,
funding, and every other strategy? Again, we are talking pure politics here, so that people don't misquote us. Whether we like it or not, funding
is key.
It's key, and we know how this thing goes. So, but again, it's always about the commitment of the federal government to winning the state. How strategic is the election in Edo State to whatever calculation the APC will be having
ahead of 2027?
It's also going to be a major decision. So would the APC say, well, Edo, wherever it goes is fine, it's not really those major decider when it comes to elections? Or they'll say, no, we need to take this, at least to begin to prepare ourselves
for 2027
and get ourselves motivated. So it depends. I'm not part of we don't have information as to the boiling room of the APC when it comes to decisions like this. But every election will count as it's going. And so, but with Senator Monday Okpebholo, who is a candidate and also a senator, for him to have been able to win in the last election to become a senator,
shows that he has a structure. Home.
Forget about all the noise that he's not attending debates and all of that. I'm sorry, Nigerian elections, at least we've said it. Look at how serious America has taken their own debate.
I was saying it before you came in. I'm struggling to stay awake before I came to the office today.
Because you had I was waiting, and then suddenly nature took toll on me.
Nature could not do.
And then, so I've been trying to now watch. But what I'm saying is that look at how seriously the presidential candidates in the US have taken their own debates. In fact, they were prepping. There was updates. But ironically, in Nigeria, all presidents that have participated in debate have always lost.
Never.
The ones that have won are the ones who don't.
All
debate.
The 5 presidents we've had since 1990 have never attended debates.
Never attended debates.
Said forward. So, before we leave this Edo conversation, sorry to cut you.
Yes.
The Philip Shaibu conversation.
It's also a major
day before yesterday. I watched the campaign of the APC. I think Redvo, one of the local governments. And Philip Shaibu was on stage with them all through the speech of Adams Oshiomhole. He held Philip Shaibu by the hand and eventually still raised his hand up. Philip Shaibu had not officially decamped from the PDP.
Yes.
In fact, according to the law, until anything changes, is one at the appeal courts. They've taken the matter to the Supreme Court.
He's been referred to as a reinstated deputy governor.
Deputy governor. So as it is now,
he's still the deputy governor.
Still a member of the PDP. He's still the deputy governor, and he is hobnobbing with the APC morning, afternoon, night. How much of a spoiler? Whether you like it or not, Last week Friday, I listened to voices from the top. Kunle Daniels and Joseph Fọlọ́runṣọ́ that is from Edo State. And Kunle Daniels asked him one question. He said, did Philip Shuaibu contribute to Godwin Obaseki winning the election? And Joseph Fọlọ́runṣọ́ said it was Philip Shuaibu that won the election for Godwin Obaseki. That is how grounded Philip Shuaibu is in Edo State. How much of a spoiler? Maybe he's even the third force in this election, despite the fact that he's not campaigning. How much of a spoiler will Philip Shuaibu be?
A big spoiler.
In this conversation?
A big spoiler is going to be. But again, I think in the mind of Obaseki, because when it comes to local politics, you always have these big boys, quote and unquote, guys who have been on ground, who say they have the structure.
And they benefited from the government.
From the government. But you also have people who are open to show that, look, we also can do things.
We can deliver.
We can deliver. So you may have a situation where Obaseki is looking for people like that too, who are looking at Shuaibu and saying that, look, we can do better than him. And I'm sure there are guys like that who are going to be telling the governor that, look, whatever you think Shuaibu can do,
we can do better.
So I don't know whether there are people like that really who can turn out the votes. There's something about Shuaibu. Forget about Shomole will say, I trained him, he's my boy. People have said that, look, the guy is a grassroots guy. He's always been home. He has never left the state. He's always been on ground. He's a grassroots mobilizer. He can speak the language.
Shuaibu played for Bender Insurance 2 seasons ago.
So this is a guy that understands the local terrain. Like, you know, when you say that street boy. So, you know, and whether you like it or not, for a state like Edo, that Omole factor is key. Because you need to be able to tell the people what they want to hear. And telling people what they want to hear is more effective when you speak the language they understand. Language now is not necessarily the local dialect. It's about what can motivate the people, what can push the people. It's key. You know, because the research, that grand research is key. Because sometimes you come with all of these policies, you know, there's a particular course I'm actually doing now, communication for development. And one of the things we've learned when it comes to policy communication is that, look, sometimes you think you are helping people, that's not what they want.
That's not.
You think you are helping the people, but you need to go and find out what really the people need before you come up with a policy decision. Else you would have been doing something hoping you are solving a problem.
And you just these policies on ourselves.
You know, we've had, for example, we've had examples of, you know, communities where leaders have decided to build a borehole for them.
And people want electricity.
And people want something different. And the reason why they want something different is because you have not even asked them. I'll give you a very classic example. It's afternoon, so I'll try and manage my words. This community is a community where there's no water. They live in clusters, like a gole kind of setting. So, and women don't go out. You know what I mean? The women don't what? They don't go out. They are always indoors. That's the kind of setting. But the only time they go out, what I mean, is that, look, when they need to fetch water, which is like once a week. And so all the women are allowed to go out just once a week to go to the stream
and
fetch water. So it gives the women opportunity, you know, to talk, to know themselves, you know, unwind, because, you know, it's almost like they are gagged. They are just at home. They don't go out. But that day that they're allowed to go to
they
the
utilize
street,
it.
It's more like freedom for them.
Absolutely.
So a particular NGO supported by a foreign mission came to that community and said, why are we going to the stream to fetch water? And then decided to sink a ball for them in the community.
The ball would not stand.
And then a few weeks after, they discovered that the ball was damaged.
It's damaged
by the same people they did the ball for.
Because they don't want the ball.
So eventually when they made the research, they said, so the freedom we used to have once a week,
you are taking it away from us.
So that's policy communication. So when it comes to politics, sometimes it's not I will come and do school for you. Do you know what they really want? Do you know if the school is a problem for them?
It's basically about needs assessment.
You need to check, and for them to tell you what they really want, there must be somebody who can go. I think I like the campaign so far. It's been intense, apart from, you know, some of the words that have been a bit you know, too dirty for public consumption. But I think generally I like the intensity of the campaigns. Almost on a daily basis we see it on
Senator
TV.
Monday is talking now.
Okay, so he's still talking, you know. So So you asked it maybe because it's a month after.
It's still November.
But it's just been quiet. Really.
But state
I'm sure we'll it's a different. But Edo has been interesting, and I think that we should have a good election.
It's even funny that it is Adams Oshiomhole that is speaking for Monday Okpebolo.
They say it doesn't really talk. He's a man of action.
It is Obaseki that is speaking for
Peter Obi is already
Answell
with the Labour
Peter
Party
Obino is speaking with
at
Olumide
the end
Apata.
of the day, the people will have a final say. We are hoping that this election, it's going to be a major test for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because this will be like a major election after he had become president, and people are going to be waiting to see how the security operatives would behave themselves during the elections. They're also looking onto INEC to see if there's anything that has changed and improved with conducting elections.
There's going to be the on Monday.
Yes.
There was the Edo Peace Summit.
Yes.
And tomorrow, which is the 12th of September, all of the political parties will sign the peace accord. INEC had made an announcement. Professor Mahmood Yakub will be there in Edo State Live to supervise the signing of the peace accord.
Yeah.
And I'm also looking forward to it. We'll be on ground,
yes.
To give you everything you need to know about the election. Open an election studio probably on the 21st of September, so that you have an idea, because isolated elections like these are very tricky. Remember the ones we had on the 11th of November, Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of people don't exactly pay so much attention to that.
Because again, all hands on deck. INEC can concentrate.
You can focus on this
Security
one.
operatives can concentrate. The media, of course, everybody would be focused on that. So there are little distractions really to deal with. So Edo is going to be interesting. I think so. We've not had anything from the palace. I've seen politicians who are trying to drag in the palace into their conversation. In fact, the APC, every time they talk, they'll tell you, oh, the PDP has been insulting the palace of Beseki. But I think that at the end of the day, the people of Edo State should and will have the final. It's going to be interesting. We'll see how
Very
it goes.
interesting.
Well, before we leave that story, I actually had the opportunity of speaking with some persons from Edo State, and the one thing that majority of them, have been saying is they believe that they've seen the APC, they know the PDP, but they want to try the Labour Party. Well, we get to find out how that is going to pan out eventually, if it is the direction most of them would like to tow. Now, let's move into the third story. If you're just joining us, this is Midweek Politics on Mainland 98.3 FM. And of course, we're talking everything political as it happens in Nigeria. So stay with us and get more stories. If you're watching us live on Facebook, endeavor to drop your comments there. In any of the stories you pick of interest, you drop your comments there as well. We'll read them. There is WhatsApp platform as well as text messages. Okay, make use of that as well. Trust me, Okoyemi is going to read all of those messages out for you. Let's go to the third story. Side for what this is about, Joe Ajaero. And interestingly, he couldn't go to UK because he was supposed to go for a meeting or maybe a kind of a rally.
United Kingdom.
Is it TUC conference?
Trade Union Conference, and unfortunately it was picked up just right there at the airport. And we have a story here that says nobody is above the law, and this is coming from the federal government, where the federal government of Nigeria yesterday rejected accusation of rights abuse labeled against it by the United Kingdom Trade Union Congress TUC, insisting that nobody, including the NLC president, is above the law. And by the way, the federal government, in a statement by the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said yesterday that Joe Ajaero was arrested by the Department of State Services because he refused to honor the invitation of the law enforcement agency carrying out an investigation. Now, that is just the story there, and there are so many other things that comes with it. But the fact is, coming to this story of the federal government of Nigeria taking laws, of course they are the law, but the way it appears that the federal government of Nigeria seems to be carrying out its activities, especially coming from the DSS, the Nigerian Police Force, and other agencies, it appears people do not understand where the rights of Nigeria lies anymore constitutionally. And with this has even made international bodies to come and accuse the federal government of Nigeria of trying to go against the rights of individual, abusing the rights of individual. Now, we've seen, of course, we know when it comes to responding to things like this, the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, is somebody that would always stand to say things and even defend the presidency, as it were. But in this regard, he has said nobody is above the law. But we understand that when it comes to issues of this nature, it appears some people's rights are being trampled upon. Side forward, we just wanted to take us a little bit on this particular show before we go into the
statement from the end that nobody is above the law. Yes, that we run a constitutional democracy. I think we all agree that nobody is above the law. There's no question to that. Nobody can dispute that. Nobody can challenge that. We are a country governed by law. So if we agree that nobody is above the law, we also have to agree that nobody should misuse the law or abuse the law. The law should be seen as applied the way it should be applied. So because being above the law and privileges of ordinary Nigerians, Mr. Joe Ajura, I'm sure would be able. He's not somebody that will be represented pro bono. He doesn't have a problem.
Lawyers are defending him.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I don't think he has a problem financing, appearances or getting money to get the best legal ads to represent him in any case that may be brought against him. So if he has any questions to answer, I'm sure he will sort himself out. Yes, but again, this is the situation for me. Before now, maybe for people who don't understand, some of the reasons why some of us have continued to, trust the, again, between 1999 and 2007, the current president, who was then the governor, was a man a lot of Nigerians supported against what was seen as a vindictive government at the federal level. When
especially after the creation of the LCDs,
and then against
Lagos funds being withheld,
against court rulings, funds of the Lagos government were held by the federal, and a lot of us said no, it should not happen. So, in fact, a lot of you started to follow President then governor
because of the standoff to the former president of
this ground. No, I'm not going to cower to any form of intimidation. I'm the governor, and this is the word the law says. There have been court rulings. Even if you disobey it, I'm still going to stand my ground. And the fact that he was able to survive the political onslaught against the Southwest at that time, that's now giving him that popular phrase, the last man standing, was the reason why some people started to, follow him, trust him. Again, before then, we had the Nadeko episode, where he also moved into the trenches to fight to a standstill the military gulag for us to return to democracy. How he was funding the activities of Nadeko, the support he gave to them in the US,
the establishment
episode, and the fact that he was one of the right-hand man to the late Chief Abiola. There was no time you saw Abiola, you're probably going to see Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu at that time, who had won his own election to be a senator. So that was a man that was never absent when it comes to pro-democracy activism. He was a man that was very strategic to how we drove the military back to the barracks to now bring democracy, and he has never denied or stayed away from accepting the fact that he's a progressive, he's a true Democrat, he believes in political activism. So for some of us who have followed that trajectory, it's a bit strange what is now happening under his own government. Because if you have a man that benefited from being the leader of dissenting voices to government activities and policies, one would expect that, look, the public and civil space
should have life, should be able to breathe
under him. It should even get larger as a true Democrat. But we are seeing a conscription, we are seeing a gagging of the civic space under a President Bola Ahmed Tinubu
that benefited from
an enlarged. I was just telling a few of some of our staff that there was nothing Jonathan did not hear.
2012.
Oh my goodness. Alhaji Lai Mohammed every day.
Slow motion, no motion.
No slow motion. This, what was this other word? There was this very popular phrase then. There was this one about he was never aware. There's this very popular one that they used. I remember before we came into the studio, and those were the words. And you had a Jonathan who allowed opposition, Okoyemi,
to
thrive. That's why some of us have said, so some of us were just very unfair to Jonathan. He allowed opposition to thrive. The civil society organizations under him, they were able to do things. Protests happened under him. But what we're saying is that, look, it is strange that under a President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, protesters are being charged for treason.
Side for hold your thoughts.
Yes.
Let me quickly play this. Maybe people would understand what exactly we're talking about. You're live on Mainland FM, and this is Midweek Politics from 1 to 3 p.m. every Wednesday. And we'll talk about political conversations void of sentiments, bias, or emotions. And I have Victor Achibong side forward and myself, Okoyemi. I needed to break side forward's thoughts, and I needed to really kick this on. Take a listen to this. This was 2012, and this was President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, then the national leader of the opposition, ACN. Take a listen to this.
For the good of all of us, do not allow the opportunity to make things better for us. They make it better for themselves, for their comfort and their families. Cronyism is prevailing. Today, our rulers in Abuja and across some of their states, you know what they say to us when they remove subsidy and we say no. Hunger is increasing, they say so what? Unemployment is a cause, they say yes. Make nation do the impossible. What it does, it makes poverty to the national corruption and corruption. We have assembled here today to bring a new day, a new Nigeria to our people. Today, the Nigerian people are decent and hardworking people. They are equally long suffering. They tolerate for too long. Just because they are long suffering does not mean they should be forced to suffer on death comes. We, our people, we've had enough of excuses. Our people have had enough of having nothing. The current government's trademark is to throw empty words, call action at our problem, as if doing nothing will cause our troubles to live for sheer boredom. Unemployment increasing. Industrialization, we have not. Refinery, nothing is working. Electricity, they lie. If this is the government of, if this is the government's idea of transformation, and we have none of it, we should not have any of it. Because before, we say the government of slow motion. Now, it is the government of no motion at all. If they want to stand still at the bus stop or train station and be stagnated without poverty, they have the right to do so, and we have a right to kick them out. Not enough that they are stealing from our children tomorrow for lack of investment in education. They are still embezzling the retirement benefit of hardworking Nigeria, including our grandfathers. They are stealing the port, the treasury, not even leaving some coins for us to war with. Let them be out. Out now.
Here is easy to bring normalcy and redecorate. It's more difficult.
General elections in 2023 have created conversations and consequences that will live with us for years to come. From the executive to the judiciary, legislature, media, and the people, organized labor, and civil society organizations, issues that will continue to shape the future of our country needs continuous probing and interrogation.
I see the greater objective for the party, and let me tell you, I've told the PDP in some locations that gentlemen, be careful. Better men have founded parties that have gone into oblivion. Where's the party of Awolowo? Where's the party of Azikwe? Where's PRP of Rimi? Political parties must be nurtured, they must be reinvented, they must be true.
Join Okoyemi Akinyode and Said Fuad on Midweek Politics every Wednesday 1 to 3 p.m. on Mainland 98.3 FM for thought-provoking conversations, voices from the top, engaging interviews, in-depth analysis on all matters around politics, policies, and governance. Midweek Politics on Mainland 98.3 FM, bringing the right perspectives to everything politics.
Welcome back. I needed to quickly play that sound bite. That was the voice of the then national leader of the APC, of the SCN, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that was at the Mɪᴅ-ᴡᴇᴇᴅ Freedom Park at Ojota during the Occupy Nigeria protest of 2012, when the former President Goodluck Jonathan removed subsidy from 65 naira to 82 naira, and that was 12 years ago. Listen to what the president, then the opposition leader said. Side for what has changed within the space of 12 years? The same man is in office, and upon his point of being sworn in on the 29th of May, even before he entered into Aso Rock, right at Eagle Square in Abuja, he announced a total removal of subsidy. How did things change within that same period of time, Said Fuad?
You know, the handling of the subsidy removal is one conversation that will take the whole day if we decide to go into all of that. But I think while we are discussing and why it's important for us to pay attention to that sound bite, that was the voice of the president in 2012, when, of course, he was also part of a protest against subsidy removal, is the number of things he said, you know, the things he said about cronyism, about hunger in the land, and the fact that the government is saying go to hell, nobody cares, where he was talking about better welfare for the people, and the fact that the people were too tolerant of the government at that time. Enough is enough.
He was talking of corruption and corruption. What do we have now?
And that there was too much empty promises in government at that time. That look, subsidy removal can never happen with the level of poverty in the land. You know, at that time the slogan was, "Look, kill corruption, don't kill Nigerians." When the government attempted to remove subsidy, so they were very active. And in fact, those were the conversation that they took towards 2015 to bring APC to power. Those were exactly
that was what they rode on.
They rode on those conversations. They never left those conversations.
The Tunebakaris, Dino Melaye, Buharis of this world.
So consistently they stood on that conversation as to that. Look, this government is so ineptitude. They are not aware of anything. They are so inefficient. And that was what Nigerians started to see. They trusted those words, listened to them, and by 2014. It was getting obvious that the PDP was in trouble.
It was anybody but Jonathan.
It was they were able to hold on to this narrative, you know, put it in the minds of the people to trust the fact that there was a need for a change. And as at the time we're going to have the election in 2015, it was almost like a done deal because these were the things. So, but look at what has happened 2015 down the line. But look, the 8 years of the Buhari administration, no matter what you say of that administration, he was very tolerant of opposition voices. That's why one of our guys said, even a Buhari did not gag the civil society organizations. Even a Buhari,
they didn't fight treason charges against protesters.
But when we begin to have a situation where, look at half of what you played now. Is it different from what these protesters are saying? But if Jonathan tolerated them when they said all of this, why are they not tolerant of people saying this now? That's what we are saying. Why has it suddenly become a situation where people that now say what they said in 2012
are now
have to stand trial for treason?
They're now committing treasonable offense.
That's you see, and I see the hypocrisy. I see people trying to paraphrase it, trying to justify these things. I'm saying that, look, if truly we believe we have to protect this democracy, all hands must be on deck. And how do we get all hands on deck? The people who are leading us and the followers must agree that, look, the civic space should never be conscripted. It should get bigger, because that in itself is an ingredient to a viable democracy. But when we begin to have situations where the civic space is being choked, you're reducing it, you are being intolerant of dissenting opinions, and then you have a buyer or non-buyer that keeps coming to say things that look at the trials of brother Ajaero, as I like to
somebody said his trial but Ajaero. That's what my friend said yesterday.
Again, I'm not bothered really about his detention, arrest, or I think he's going to be able to sort himself out. If he has anything, he would have to go answer questions. The worst that will happen is that he will have his day in court. I don't think there's anybody that's standing a bigger trial than Emefiele. And he's still standing. He's still defending himself.
He's still carrying Bible.
So he's still carrying the Bible. He has his lawyers who are still representing him. So no matter what happens to Ajaero, he would have to still have his day in court. It's not a military that they will just put him to and then they will just go and execute him. No, he would have to go and defend himself. But what we are saying is that, look, it's not good. The perception is bad for this government. If the TUC in the UK is saying that, look, this guy was supposed to speak at the event, he was waylaid at the airport, and they are saying that, look at today. Ajaero said, look, even when they picked me up, the IRT came. The thing they asked him was the same thing they asked me when I visited them the last time. So nothing new. They asked me about this.
You just don't want me to go. You want me to travel.
So, and people are already saying that, look, maybe it's an harassment, or they don't want the labor to be able to gather themselves. In fact, as we speak, a lot of Nigerians don't even trust the NLC.
So they say they actually picked him up.
But what we are saying is that, look, no matter how bad you think Ajaero is performing and his NLC, organized labor, you must still continue to ensure, we must continue to ensure that the NLC survives. Because Ajaero will never be president for NLC for life.
He's coming next.
So we cannot say because Ajaero is performing, he's not doing well as the NLC president.
We don't turn against them and allow the government to drag them.
Statement. I was telling Sandra earlier this morning, how did the conversation of how we sold our refinery came into that statement?
How?
What are we saying? What are you saying?
How?
Because at the end of the day, you first said nobody is above the law.
Then you now came back to justice.
Then you now said that, oh, even the NLC, in the past, they've done things that are against the economy. When they wanted to sell the refinery, we are talking about doing Yaradua. So you now ask yourself, so is Mr. Baron now telling us that, look, we should do away with the NLC because they sold the refinery and they were the ones that stopped the sale? And in fact, that's even a misinformation. Yaradua stopped the sale, revoked the sale of the refinery because he felt that the process
was not pure.
He felt that the refinery itself was undervalued. And that, look, some of the assets, national assets, have been sold too cheaply. That was why. It was not really because of the protest.
And those were valid concerns.
Valid concerns at that time.
How much did you sell the 1,004
7 billion naira.
7 billion.
A whole 1,004 in Victoria Island. So that was the concern of Yar'Adua. And that was not the only sale that he revoked or reversed.
Even the federal secretariat also.
So many things which he said no was not going to scale through. But what I'm saying is that, look, even if the NLC was against the sale of the refineries, we've had national assets that have been sold
and nothing
that the NLC was not happy about, and it has still been what of the power sector.
Was it reversed?
So, but the question is, what is the relevance of that statement to what we are now saying? About. So again, but I always say it. I actually would have for him.
All right. According to Onanuga, he said the Department of State Services actually arrested and Joe Ajaero because he didn't honor the invitation of the law enforcement agency carrying out an investigation. But we are still looking for the white lion, hopefully.
Which one?
You're looking for him.
Which one? Which one are you looking for?
Exactly where he is.
Which one?
You should honor the invitation as well.
You see, leave white lion. White lion is now amazing. The white cat. Let's quickly touch Bruno briefly.
Yeah,
and
Bruno down collapse.
Yeah, I think we're just going to move over it so that we understand what it is. The University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital was affected by the flooding. It was submerged as well.
The post office as well, cemetery.
The prison wall that was located around Custom area was also broken. And then it was flooded. Some inmates reportedly drowned, while some ran for their dear life and escaped. That's what I'm saying.
About 200.
You can imagine the kind of prisoners that will be in the correctional facilities in Maiduguri, in Borno State, and they've escaped. They've entered into the streets. I mean, this is not a prison break. It's not a jail break. This is a natural disaster.
Give them the opportunity to
and now they've entered into it. By the way, the biggest wildlife park in the north, after the Yankari Game Reserve, it's actually in Borno. It's been affected. They said over 80% of the animals from crocodiles. I saw a video of ostrich, moving around the street in Borno. Yeah. It's a bad time, and I really hope that the president, would be able to come up in that. The Halwa Dam overflow, it's something that could have been avoided. Remember when the old Niger Republic thing started, that they said there's supposed to be a rechanneling. We're not paying our part of the deal. These are the consequences of those actions and inactions, and it's very simple. If the government fails to do what they should do, it is the people that will suffer and disaster. And whether you give them bags of rice or whether you give them 3 billion, whatever it is you give them, in fact, they've had to have, as we speak, over 70% of Maiduguri is affected by this flood. So all of the IDP camps, whether the one that is in
the hospitals too.
Yes.
I don't know what the condition of the hospitals will be.
Jere local government is the closest local government to the to Maiduguri metropolis. It has about the second largest IDP camps. I've been privileged to be in that space. There are more than 4,000 people in the IDP camps. 4 IDP camps scattered in Jere. All of them have been submerged
as we speak.
And how do you move, and where do you move those people to side for?
Look at what Nema said. The floods have killed at least 229 people so far this year, displaced around 386,000 more, and affected 94,000 houses in parts of the country, but mainly in the northern region. At least 125,000 hectares of farmland have also been affected. NEMA figures showed thousands of Maiduguri inhabitants have been displaced, with the Nigerian Correctional Service recapturing, 3 inmates after a jailbreak, while 80% of the animals at the Sanda Kiarimi Park Zoo died as Borno State suffered its most devastating flood disaster in 30 years.
Well, the Minister of Interior, Honorable Mɪᴅ-ᴡᴇᴇ, arrived Borno earlier today to get assessment, especially for the minimum, correctional service there, to see the state of things. But it's quite unfortunate. Within the space of about 3 years or so of the administration of former minister, that's the former governor of Osun State, we had about 8 successful jailbreaks, and I cannot remember if we have the accurate figures of how many people have been recaptured from those people in a country that will have one of the most porous borders in the world you can imagine. We hope that everything gets sorted. I'm sure more than recapturing those people, the safety of the citizens is the priority of the Borno State government right now. Well, it's time for you to join the conversation. Victor, you take care of Facebook, because the number of messages that we have here alone, even before the calls, is a whole lot of issues. But in case you're just tuning in, we'll start off at 1 o'clock. I will start this conversation with the, talks of the members of the APC now saying, you know what, we admit that some of our laws and policies have been counterproductive, have been making life difficult for the people. But it's basically about just hanging there. Hold on as much as you can. Things would certainly get better. Then we moved on to the conversation of, nobody being above the law. We talked about the trial. I don't know if it's trial yet, because it's not been charged to court. Talking about the national president.
Or the travels of Brother
He's a comrade. He's a comrade. Then we also quickly talked about the coming election, September 21st in Edo State. The gubernatorial election. Is the PDP going to retain the state, or is the APC going to recapture and reclaim the state as are putting out? Or you think there's going to be the spoiler, the third force factor? We talked about all of that, but now is for you to join the conversation. 0913-600-0410. I will pick your calls, read your messages, and will also read your feedbacks on our social media platform, facebook.com/mainland 98.3 FM. There are reports that snakes and crocodiles have been washed into communities in Borno. So the people, I'm sure they'll catch them and use them for meat. I doubt if they'll be able to harm any of the people within those communities. But let's have your thoughts. We'll also pick your calls and read your messages in between. 0913-600-0410. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Okay.
I'm very grateful. Grateful. I'm enjoying. Thank you very much. Yes, there's nothing to contribute to.
Oh, wow. You just called to appreciate us. Thank you. 0913-600-0410. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Mainland FM.
Good afternoon, sir.
You're welcome. Your name and where you joining us from?
Yes, my name is Samuel. Calling you from Ikeja.
Samuel from Ikeja. Okay, you have the floor.
Yeah. Okoyemi, good afternoon. Oga Fuad, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. Oga Fuad, please, there's one thing I want to beg you guys. The media. If you people can help us, that voice that you people play this afternoon, if you guys can be playing that voice, almost, if it is every day, you guys will be playing it. Whether these people will listen, and I will say the same thing to other media if I have the opportunity to talk in other media houses. I will, yes, platform. In fact, it will go a long way to make these people know that yes, what you are doing today, you were against the same thing that you are doing to people today. You understand? I am very, very happy this afternoon. I'm just lucky. I didn't mean I missed today's program. I think I will not be happy. And I'm very, very grateful to you.
Thank you
for bringing that voice out. And that is the thing that we can do that will make these people to sit up. Please, we should help. It is only you that can do it. That's about God. Yes. Oga Fuad, it's only you that can do it.
No, it's on the instruction. Let's talk to you, Foma. Hello, good afternoon, Foma.
You're
welcome.
Okay, for the analysis, though.
Good afternoon.
Yes, like the caller that just said, that's your standby you play about Tinubu. Very low. As a caller that just finished before me, if you plan the repeating weekly, and let's reach down to the bottom of the people that say, that's apart from that. The second is the issue of Bonnie, the animal looks so scary because I don't even pray that at the end of the day, people now become a victim of animal,
attacks.
Across the water, across the bush. Animals are very dangerous, and when you are not protected enough, seeing a woman be wanting with in their back of maybe somebody is coming to attack them. So I pray that they will not be violent. But the issue of Edu, as Victor has said, he was able to have a contact with some people. They have tried PDP and also they have tried APC. Let's give the chance for Labour Party and let's see what will happen. And let me also call attention on Fouad. When Emmanuel Macron of France running for his president, I don't think I have a godfather. It was under a platform that he won. This 2023, if not the Wuru Diane with all their bias, truly, what is happening in Labour Party today, we will not see. Prevention, the lesson are go in this smooth way, in the sincerity to everybody. Whatever needs to have happened between Ajero and Lamidi Akpakpa, we will not even a single because, number one, their dream will not come to reality, and number two, the nation itself is not a friend with us. So we shouldn't mock the Labour Party, but let's look for a better election in years.
Thank you very much, Ufoma. It's in the news now that court has granted the 10 end bad governance protesters bail. The ones that were charged for treason. do you even bail people that are charged for treason?
How do you charge them for treason at the same time
and still grant them bail? It's because it's a capital offense.
Let's move on.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Mainland FM. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
You're welcome, Mr. Laiwola.
Yeah. It's my mistake. I want to.
Try and call back.
Do call back.
Still have a few more minutes to go.
Hello.
Sure.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Good afternoon, sir.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Comrade.
Oh, wow. The network is acting up. Sorry about that.
Please try and keep calling. Maybe we just suspend the calls for now and read messages. But let's see. Okay.
I'm the lucky man.
Okay. Right. This one go through.
Now your call, they call other people's call.
This is Dᴇ Joshua calling from.
Right. You're welcome.
Oga Fuad, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Victor Agisi.
Welcome.
I want to ask you, Oga Fuad, do you really think President Tinubu is getting enough information as to what is going on in the country?
I don't know.
And with the intention that yes, I still want to win elections 2027. Are you really sure?
How would I know?
What we know about politics in Nigeria back then is your first term in office,
to secure your second time.
So with what is going on, of course, the man said he's out of social media, that he's not listening to anything going on social media. But then, does he really want to win elections coming 2027? Because I don't understand. You cannot be doing all these things and people are complaining, people are crying, and you are not even making attempts, or you are not even talking to us. And again, Oga Fuad, is it a conspiracy from the media that yes, we don't have like authority or connection to even call this man for a press conference, face-to-face interview with this man for over a year now?
We are not his information manager, so they will decide we want to speak to the press.
What I'm saying is, let's just have a meeting with a one-on-one interview with the president.
Yes, it still has to go through the information managers of the president. The president can't walk up to a debate without his management, being in support. Thank you very much.
We cannot just waylay him on the road and
say, Oga, come and do interview. No. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. Let me see if this one will go through. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
It's not. It's
We're,
not.
we're,
Poor reception,
we're
yeah.
struggling to hear you. Let me read some messages, Victor. Then you also help us out with some of the messages we have on Facebook.
No troubles.
This one is Sally from Oregun Ikeja, and he says, to my guys in the studio, good afternoon. Wow, I'm so happy listening to that sound bite of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2012 when Jonathan removed the subsidy. It gets me wondering if he has ever listened to himself again with all that is happening under his tenure. And I still wonder if his diehard supporters, the likes of your regular callers who always stresses them like, I'm not going to call that, leave that. Well, that Baba can support him. Okay, please, you people should use that soundbite to run all of your programs. If possible, play it every time. I love the soundbite. That is Sally from Oregon. Have a very beautiful afternoon. Have a beautiful afternoon also. This one is Steve from Ijaniki, and he says, if there's still anyone that this government listens to, they should please advise them to stop the embarrassment and the national disgrace in the name of looking for those undermining our security. Bayo Onanuga and co will not be found in the corridors of power in serious and more civilized crimes. Bayo knows that his earlier accusation of Peter Obi didn't fly, so he's looking for any means to rope any person connected to the Labour Party. Please let them reflect how the likes of Abacha ended, despite all of the almighty powers they thought they had. Anyways, it is that a dog that is destined to die would not hear the owner's whistle. We know, we have no names of terrorists and their sponsors, yet the DSS can't tell us how many of them have been caught or convicted. I pity these people in power for not learning from history. Okay. Lekon from Lagos says, I want to ask, are we in a democracy or autocracy? It is pure democracy. That's the answer. Where innocent people are born out from Oshodi. And it says, on the Edo Guba elections, I think Philip Shaibu is borrowing a leaf from Nyesom Wike. He's emboldened by the fact that Wike is getting away with whatever he's doing. For Olumide Apata, I will also allow polls where the Labour Party candidate Udeng Seradiri only got 500 votes, despite his campaign and the Peter Obi syndrome. Maybe things may change, but it is a 2-horse race for now. Why is Felix Moka talking against his party? I thought he's always defended every policy of his party. On the Maiduguri flood, next year it will happen again, and would ask the people to relocate. Let us build more dams. That's James Ogbonna from Oshodi. Adeyemi Kamaru is talking to us from satellite, and he says, how can you tag a peaceful protest, anger, looting, vandalism, destruction of public infrastructures, and it was deliberate? That is why they premeditatedly tagged the days of rage. You can't express rage peacefully. Interesting side forward, right? I understand where that conversation is coming from. Remember the build up to the end bad governance protest, the tag, because as a deputy governor, he lost his word to the APC because of his influence of Oshiomhole, who controls Edo North and is always the stronghold of the APC. The battleground will be Edo Central because Edo South is also PDP stronghold. Good enough. Both candidates are from Edo Central. Chuks from Ikorodu is talking to us, and he says, Nigeria and Argentina cannot even be compared in terms of natural resources. The man in Argentina is very transparent, sincere, it has no baggages, and is driven by the common good for the Argentines. This is the opposite of what we have in Nigeria. Politicians are selfish, corrupt, greedy, and nepotistic in nature. They just cannot replicate the Argentine experience because it is against their own very nature. That is Chuks from Ikorodu. One online, Anthony says, honestly, for me, I don't believe anything can change in the country. The APC is following the same template of the PDP, who felt very overconfident that they will rule forever. So what is curious to me is, if another party comes and upset the APC, is it not likely for them to also take us down the bad ruins that the PDP and the APC has taken us to? It is a case of who we bail the cat. Temidayo from Idimu says, Side Fua's analogy of tunnel routing of this administration's reform is just on point, very apt. We are pushed in and we are advised inside, we are divided inside, which makes it hopeless. Thank you for midweek politics and thank you for the crew. You all are on point. Festus from Ikorodu says, God bless you for that soundbite. Please, can I get it? I want to use it for my ringtone. Oh, Festus from Ikorodu. This matter is taking another dimension. Victor, let's check Facebook, please.
Let's go to Facebook. Thank you very much, Okpayabi. Anyway, this is coming from Olufemi Olayinka. He says, good job, you sirs. Thank you very much for that. Just appreciating us. Very short message. I think that's the shortest message we've got so far. John Bernard Ohi is saying, good afternoon, Mainland FM. Thank you, Mr. Fuad, for speaking my mind by comparing Argentina and Nigeria. You can see how the president of Argentina handled a tough decision, but here in Nigeria, the president and his over-bloated cabinet are not sanctifying anything or sacrificing anything. I guess that's what he was trying to say. The over-bloated cabinet alone is a big problem. The other day, I saw Dele Alake talking about iron and steel development in Kogi State. Then what is the need of having another man as a minister of steel development?
That means of steel, baby. Is he has he been doing this? Minister of steel.
Anyway, so the president needs to stop and reflect. That, of course, is coming from the young man right there.
Blue marine economy.
Osun State representative have always been questioned. We had former minister of interior that was just
that did a wonderful job.
Comfortable announcing public holidays and announcing successful jailbreaks. I mean, it's really unfair.
Anyway, Atonda Kayode Samuel is saying, good afternoon, Okpe, Fuad and Victor. Really appreciate everything to this issue with comparative advantage. However, what I can say with reference to Argentina president and Nigeria is the fact that Argentina have a well-grounded institution companies with Nigeria where institution is non-in-existence. Okay. Also, a little bit relieved that you guys, for the very first time, through a thorough uppercut or through is he saying through a thorough uppercut? Anyway, through a thorough uppercut to the camps of the governors and the legislative arms with the opening dialogue with Okpe and Victor, when Trump carried away the victory in November election. Lastly, on a sad note, commensurate with the situation in Borno State, but this is becoming an annual flooding event with heavy donations unaccounted for by the recipient organizers,
which is unfortunate.
You guys. Lukman Oladikbukbo is saying, sending my greetings from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you very much, Lukman. We appreciate you.
He's our friend from Senegal.
Oh, that's fantastic. Lukman. He says, we all thought President Tinubu will do things differently, not knowing that Baba carried us over to Ajekuya. Did I pronounce it very well?
Yeah, let's leave it the way you pronounced it.
Okay, fantastic. Thank
let's
you very
just
much.
leave it the way you pronounced it.
Now, he went for us to say that. He said subsidy is gone, but later told NNPCL to pay so-called intervention funds instead of him to reduce the cabinet, but he increased it with additional ministries. Baba thought it's about gra-gra. Met dollar at 750 naira, and within a year it went to 1,650 naira. In fact, his economy policy suffocates and very difficult for the poor masses to breathe. I will keep sending prayers to Nigeria. I understand. I will keep sending prayers to Nigeria. I enjoyed your program, sirs. Thank you very much. All the way from Senegal.
Let's talk to Samuel from Akute, and he says, good afternoon. It's unfortunate that the president is now towing the inglorious part of late Sani Abacha's high-handedness and in the governance of this country. I can recall when Abacha declared Tinubu wanted over the explosion at Ejigbo Fuel Depot in 1995. People rose up to his support. It is the same Tinubu that is now holding hapless Nigerians into prisons over phantom treasonable charges. One thing is clear with his unfolding scenario, Tinubu is a Samuel from Akute, I'll need to stop that message from there. Maybe it's just quickly pick more calls. Let's see who we have on the line. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Mainland FM.
Hello, good afternoon, Okayami.
You're welcome.
Mr. Fuad, I greet you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
And every other person in the studio.
There's Victor in the house.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Oh, Mr. Victor.
You're welcome.
I always salute, sir.
I got
well done. In fact, that soundbite there, please, I need it to, because I want to make it my ringtone as well. And see, another thing that makes me to wonder, is it easy to forget all the rhetorics, all your promises, or is it easy to forget who you are as a person if you have a principle or a policy? So that is what power can do. You understand? That is my thinking now. That is what power, power is a power corrupt.
An absolute power corrupt, absolutely.
Absolutely. Another question I want to ask Nigerians, because I as a person, I used to say it. I had this argument with my father. You understand? He was pro Tinubu. I was anti. I told him then, I said, this man, I said, don't expect anything from him. You understand? Somebody that said Ēmilókàn, what do you expect? Somebody that has a mind of working for the people will not say I. It's a personal thing, personal interest. You understand? So I don't know why Nigerians I just laugh at people when they are complaining now, the Ghanaian Adams and everybody. I just laugh at them. My surprise would have been if Tinubu had done very well. I would have been so surprised. So here we are. We are not practicing democracy. Somebody asked you, Okoyemi, that are we practicing democracy? You said yes, absolutely. Yeah. You don't want to say the truth. This is not how democracy is, but this is autocracy. This is autocracy. So it's in the hands of Nigerians. So I'm telling you, yeah, we know we can endure. That is what Nigerians are known for. Thank God there are churches. Let's keep open and praying and going to church to pray and fasting. So it's left to Nigerians. So we can endure the hardship.
Thank you. Thank you very much. More messages and calls in between also. Let's try if we can pick this call. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Ooh, okay. Let me read your messages. Just try and keep the calls coming in. 0913-600-0410. Okay. Victor, do we have messages on Facebook?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, we have some. Let me quickly take this one here. Onyabuchi from Ikeja says, Jeg is a man and is a God-fearing man. He doesn't believe in a do or die. That is why he wants progress for Nigeria, but we actually gang up against him and see where this had led us to. Okay. This one says DSS should go for terrorists that are accusing Matawale. The DSS should leave us alone. Tinubu don't have any business being okay. Abacha and Babangida didn't even punish Nigerians this much. Okay. And this one says, good afternoon, Mainland FM. Thank you so much for what you do. Side forward, maybe you should be the next presidential spokesperson. God bless all of you. My question is, what would the president be remembered for? Thank God it's just less than 3 years before another elections. Nigerians would decide. God bless Mainland FM. Thank you. That is Ayola from IKD. IKD should be Korodu. Yeah. Okay, this one says, my name is Fumi from Ijaye. The president needs to understand that the people need to stay alive before they benefit from his several nerve-wracking policies. The people need to buy food. The people need to buy feed. The people need to buy food and feed properly before things can get better. Please talk to the president. Nigerians are tired. Thank you very much. More calls, then we'll go on Facebook. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Mainland FM.
Hello, good afternoon.
You're welcome. Your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Kenny from Mushin.
Okay, Mr. Kenny, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Fuad.
Good afternoon, sir.
Me and Mr. Ashibong over there.
You're welcome.
The lovely discussion. I'm very, very happy with the actuality you put on here. Very, very excellent, brilliant, and straight to the point. And on the issue of that protest, no one is saying Nigerians should not protest. But the only thing I find difficult to agree with is the issue of prosecution of protesters. But I'm calling the protests that happen in the northern Nigeria as a protest for any bad government. That's how it was started. That's the point we are making. Lagos State has not recovered from what happened in 2020 and start protest here. That's what we are talking about. Everybody is free to protest. We are all in all these problems. And we all pray to God that God will take out of all this. The problem in Nigeria is an endemic now. Not started from 1999. To getting that through. But one year of somebody cannot turn Nigeria to Eldorado. That's the point we are making. God will make this government to do things that make life good for all of us. That's the point you are saying. We don't have any other country. If people are calling that Nigeria should run to hackers, where are we going? Where are we going to?
Thank you.
That's the point we are making.
Thank you.
Have a lovely day.
Thank you, and have a very lovely day. Also, 0913-600-0410. Pick more calls. I would also take your messages in between. Mr. Olakunle has been trying to call, and somehow the network keep dropping the call. Let's hope you get lucky before the show ends. Hello, good afternoon.
Me, I get the luck because as we started, me that was starting.
You've also been calling. Thank you for calling here.
Good
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to Mr. Sport.
You're welcome.
You see, as for me, this champagne we hear this afternoon. We heard it before, and from this case now. Yes, I want the who are very closer to Mr. President to take it to him. Let me hear it. He said, "He may forgot that we that are around there did not forget anything. Only that I'm not a party member. If I'm one of them, I will take it to him. But as if you can't take it to him, we are talking. We are advising him. It's good to advise and criticize when necessary. This time around, we want better Nigeria. We want him to succeed. Okay, look at Argentina, you talk about what way not him to go down this as they go down now. What makes it to go down? So he takes very hard decision by taking the subsidy away, yes. But floating the naira is number one problem we are facing now. The best thing to do is to revalue the naira by changing the color, revaluing the naira, and the naira appreciate. That for the Asiwaju.
Thank you, Mr.
And finally, let me say this finally. I'm still repeating myself. For Ajaero, we want to make name, we want popularity, we want to lift your, we want to betray your military agent here, because here, we want to go to abroad to go and do what? Respect your home.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Prince Wise. Good afternoon, Mainland FM. Nice presentation always. And one of the most difficult things for a man is to beg. Now Nigerians are begging under this APC economy. Hardworking Nigerians are begging for their children to feed. I was going to say that, on my way home yesterday, I ran into a couple of young guys, and and one of them approached me and then, solicit. And after we were able to exchange a few, I got them talking, and we were walking, and I started talking to them, and I said, "Where are you guys coming from?" They said they went for what was it called, affiliate marketing, and they didn't sell, so they didn't get their commission. They couldn't go home. And I said, no matter how you think people are lying and say some of them are begging, is this, is that, for a man to swallow his pride and approach you for help, it means something is wrong somewhere, and that's the fact. No matter how you take it, whether you think, and they're this, they're like that, it has gotten to that point where people are literally begging to survive in this country. It's not even begging for luxury now, begging for the basic things of life. I understand the whole conversation around making sacrifices and bending the rules, but everything that has elasticity limit has a stretch. If you pull it so well, you will break the stretch of that limit and you will lose everything. Check rubber band. If you stretch rubber band to a point, is either it cuts or it comes back to hurt you. Is it always? More calls. Mainland FM.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon.
Dumpy.
Dabio. Good afternoon to you, Fahad.
Good afternoon.
And Victor.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Fahad, did you hear that?
What?
For our currency to gain more value, we should change the color and devalue it so that it can get more value. Did you hear that? Let me just liken it to something. A house is having a foundational problem, and the engineer is telling the owner of the house, change the color Paint it back, and the house is good to go. Do you hear that?
No, with you.
You see, that is what makes me to call. APC, both the people in the helms of our affair, both their supporters know nothing about governance. That's just the truth. Look at our country since 2015. These guys take power. Look at what has become of us. And you see the suggestion they are giving us this afternoon. Change the color of Naira so that they can have value. My God.
Don Peter.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
All right, this one here says, quickly, to the already rich politicians, if not order of the day in Nigeria, why is a bag of rice sold for 80,000 naira, a loaf of bread 1,900 naira, just to mention but a few? In the mix of this, President Tinubu is busy arresting those complaining of his bad policy and hardship in the land. The only solution and way out of all of this problem of hunger and hardship. Another short story here. This is coming that Philip Schreiber is borrowing a leaf from here.
I think Ogbemi already took that on.
No, that came on here. It came on.
Okay,
it came on as text.
So we'll leave that.
Jonathan.
Clueless. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now, good afternoon, Mr. Tᴏɪᴛᴛᴇʀ and Mr. Victor. Well done for the good job you are doing. If truly President Tinubu really prepared for this job, at least for all Nigerians. God bless my country, Nigeria. Thank you very much for that one. Atonda Kayode Samuel is saying, well, it's not easy to give Brajero such much attention because it's not above the law. Chris, listen experience on radio today as you always do. Your analysis is on point and the sound bite you played just nailed the fact that this government is people by hypocrites. Now, Nigerians should continue to cry out and not be cowed by prodigal politicians. Let me take this last one from Larry Olakonmi. He said that those state election is just a matter of days. All I'm looking forward is free and fair election that will produce popular candidates. It is funny that some people should not vote for APC in those state election because of the performance of APC-led federal government. How was this? Okay. That should just pause there.
Okay, we press for time. Unfortunately, we can't pick more calls. For staying with us from 1 p.m. when we started this conversation. Side forward, we're done for the week. From next week, we probably would know that maybe apart from the Edo conversation, I'm sure there will be nothing here that has been said today that will be repeated next week. The end to this, or you feel there's still so much that Nigerians are not aware of?
Well, if there's still if there are things that Nigerians to cause trouble in the land, I think they should.
There's public sympathy
for Joe Ajaero now. So if they have anything against him, they have anything on him, bring him in and let him have his day in court. That's what democracy demands and requires. He must be made to face the law following due process. That's what we're saying.
Thank you. People of Edo will go to the polls again. Spoilers, changers, bargainers, contenders, pretenders. Where exactly are we looking at in the Edo State conversation?
Well, I think Said Fawad said it all. For the APC, they have a whole lot to battle against, especially with the kind of narrative that they are giving to Nigerians right now, in terms of the kind of policies they are churning out of the federal. But of course, it is the people of Edo State that will decide eventually.
Period.
Now, this is where they need to ask themselves the question: what kind of government, what kind of a leader do we really need? Yes, we have about 2 or 3 of them. Okay, let's say we have 3. We have the PDP who need to decide themselves. But of course, from Nigerians, all we want to see is at the end of the day, the election is free, fair, and one that is credible for anybody to talk about. Come to
China. May God bless us and help us solve some of these problems. Thank you so much for everyone for being a part of the production today. And thank you. We'll be back, God willing, by next week, Wednesday, 1 to 3 p.m. for fresh episode of the show. And then by 3 o'clock, it's going to be Request Wednesday on the Balls. You need to join J Dan, the good guy, in the Situation Room. And keep your dial locked. What's the unpopular demand?
For the good